Hello? You play to win the game.
Welcome to the show where football is king.
If you want to crown them, then crown them.
It's 2 hours of all football.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
What, you think we talk about anything else on this show?
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
From Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. This is the Gridiron Show with Deshaun Isaac. And welcome to the show that loves to talk about football and is all about that pigskin, but it's synthetic leather. But we really don't care either way. It's all about the football here on the Gridiron Show. I'm very happy to be with you on the show this week, and we got a lot to talk about. We got a Super Bowl to be talking about. We got so much to dig into. I want to give a quick shout out to some people. I want to give a quick shout out to NFL Talk All 32. We just joined their page, and we are reaching out to their fans, and their fans kind of help with the show. Of course, if you want to check out their page here on Facebook, you can do that. Just type in NFL Talk All 32. You can do that. But another great place you can also check out is our show page, The Gridiron Show on Facebook. Or you could also check out the Score on Air network here on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or wherever social media you love. We are here with you on the show. I got to admit, it has been a crazy fun week, but you know what? It is so good to be with you here on the show. And I got to admit, this week has been a crazy week, and oh yeah, one more thing I want to add. If you have noticed, if you've been following us on social media, we have posted 2 episodes between today and between last week's show and this week's show. This week's show has been great, but we got to do more, but we doing a whole lot more, and we promised you that we got a lot more stuff going on. We got a Saturday show coming up exclusively over on our podcast network, which you can get via Anchor, via Google Podcasts, via a lot of things. But we really want you to get involved with this show because we're doing so much right now. I can't even lie to you that it is something that we're trying to grow, and we're trying to make bigger, better, stronger in every single way, shape, or form. But I got to admit here, it has been an absolute joy to be talking sports with you here on the show. I want to remind people that if you want to get on board with this show, just follow us right here on Facebook, The Gridiron Show. So Facebook.com/The Gridiron Show if you want to get involved and get with us wherever you're doing it. All right. Got to do this because we got to do a deep dive on the Chiefs. We're going to deep dive into it, and I promised a deep dive because I want to know what you think of the Chiefs. What do you think? What I'm thinking of the Chiefs, what I'm thinking of the Buccaneers, because I've had a hard time I actually said, I'll give you my prediction on next show, and I honestly thought with you here that I would have an idea, I'll have a better idea of what I gotta say and what I need to say here. I don't have a better idea, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know who to go for in this series and who to go for in this championship game. I'll be honest with you. I like what we're doing here, and I like what we can do here, but it's very hard to pick who I want to win here because these are two really equally matched teams. And as I look at them more and more, it's like, yikes, how do I pick a winner here? How do I pick a winner? It's like really hard to do, but here we are. We have to pick a winner. You have to settle up and deal, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to do it. So what I did is I wanted to look at both teams one more time before the game and before we get going and before the championships are done, and how did they do during their season and all that. So I'm going to look at the Kansas City Chiefs first before I go. Of course, Kansas City pretty much ran and is the top seed in the AFC. And as I look at the Chiefs all this season, they handled business all season long. As a matter of fact, they have faced these Buccaneers at their house. So this is just another trip down to Tampa Bay this year, which they've already done this season, and have already beaten the Buccaneers 27-24 by 3. So that's where this +3 is coming from here. And I'm going to do a deep dive on that game, but let's look at the teams they lost to. Really, they lost to the Raiders by 8. They lost to the Raiders by 8, and the Chargers, really, they did not have Mahomes starting that game at all. It was really, they sat Mahomes, they sent out other people. It really wasn't a game. Now, as you look at their postseason, they took out the Browns in a little bit of a shootout. They put up 38 points against the Bills. And with the Buccaneers, and the weird thing about this Kansas City Chiefs team this year is they're not the same team that we've seen over the years. They're just not the same team. They're not going to put up 50 points and shock you by putting up 50 freaking points on you. They're a team that is more nuanced. They're very nuanced. They're very nuanced in how they do things. They're very nuanced in how they like to play around, do things, and literally move around and do and just, try to get what they need done. They know what they are. They know, okay, we're a team and we're an organization that really know how to spread the ball out, know how to get the ball down the field as quickly as possible in every way, shape, or form. It's just, this is not a team that was really, to be honest with you, a team that you really need to underestimate here. They are not a team to underestimate. And I can't underestimate them here. And as I sit back here, and I'm going to go over some stats with you for a moment, I like how Kansas City is. Kansas City is just, it's probably Thanos' favorite team because they feel perfectly balanced. Their running game is pretty good. Rushing right now, they don't have a big rusher, but you don't need one when you have Patrick freaking Mahomes throwing for 4,700 yards and 38 touchdowns. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting 803 yards. That's your leading rusher. Your leading receiver is Travis Kelce with 1,416 yards. He got 11 touchdowns on the season. Caught it for over 100 times this season. Clyde Helaire also got nearly 200 carries. He'll probably get 200 carries in this game coming up this upcoming week. I think he's going to be depended on a lot more than he has been depended on in these other games so far. So I like the Kansas City Chiefs here. So as I look at this team, let's look at their team stats so far this season. There is no better team that can pass the ball better than Kansas City. They passed for 303 yards per game here. So let's look at the all-team rankings here. They only team, because I want to look at team. I don't want to look at certain players here, but if we're looking at offensive leaders, yards passing, Mahomes and Tom is number one in passing, and then you have Patrick Mahomes in the postseason so far. Let's look at the regular season here. Literally, you have number 2 and number 3 in passing going against each other, 4,700 yards to Brady's 4,600 yards. You have in rushing, none of these guys have a big rusher. None of these guys. KC has a great passer, have Travis Kelce out back there, and then you got a X factor. Let's look at Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann Mathieu is a guy that isn't going to be looked at in the whole breakdown. I'm probably the only guy to be talking about him in the way I'm about to be talking about him, because he is such a defensive force out there. Let's look at what he has done here this season. He has 48 solo tackles. He has 6 interceptions. And he has 9 pass deflections. Pretty much, he's back there. And here's the scary part. He has played them this season. He hasn't got a sack. He hasn't got a forced fumble. He defends passes. He can really cause some issues. And that is the main thing you want to see from him. Can he cause these issues against these teams? And as I'm looking at Tyrann Mathieu, that is a guy that can cause some issues. He's been in the league. He knows what is expected. He is a scary dude. And if he can pick off, and we know from the game last week that he can pick off these guys. He can pick off Brady. He can pick off Brady like nobody's business. Brady can and is very able to throw picks. This is a team that likes to throw the ball. They do not like running the ball. Kansas City has a guy that can run the ball in Claire here, and Travis Claire is just, they don't. That's not their MO. He will run it. He will do what he needs to do here. But over on defense, Tyrann Mathieu, if he can come up big in this game and get picks, that is going to be major. So let's look at your offensive leaders in the regular season. Your offensive leaders in total yards, Kansas City Chiefs, 415 yards a game. They can put up big yards. You're seeing the number 1 and number 2 top passing offenses in the league. Rushing the ball, they do not know how to rush the ball. Now, here is something very interesting here. Tampa Bay is sack city. Huh? What do you mean by that, Deshaun? So, when we look at total sacks, you notice that if you're looking for the Kansas City Chiefs, they're like a mid-pack team. They're not in the high part, but they're in the lower part of it. They're not too bad, but they only have 32 sacks on the season. Not as bad as Tennessee Titans, but if you compare that to the top, they were pretty much, I'm looking at my team, the Tennessee Titans, they were like bottom 5. Kansas City is middle of the pack. They're at 32. But if you look at sacks, you have Tampa Bay. They have 48 sacks on the season. They can cause issues. So what does the playoffs hold? Well, let me go into the playoffs. See who's causing mayhem in the playoffs. Well, playoffs are a very interesting situation. Who's causing sacks here? And just as it happened, Tampa Bay still causing issues with sacks. They have the most sacks right now. Look at their defense and look at Kansas City. They've only had 5 sacks in this whole playoff so far. Looking at passing, Kansas City still throws the ball a lot. Looking at total offense, you got the number 3 versus the number 5 in this postseason going against each other. Pittsburgh had to throw up for 553 yards in one game. Nobody's been able to do that. Now, yards allowed, here's where I'm a little bit scared here. Kansas City gives up a lot of yards. They're the 5th. They give up the 5th most yards in the playoffs so far with 335 yards. 335 yards per a game. That is not good. We got a lot to talk about here, but it's just as I break this down here, I see these two teams as really decent around each other, but it's going to be very interesting to see how it works here with these two. So I don't know who I want to lean towards, but we're going to find out who I want to lean towards here in a moment, because I got to look at right now. I like what the Chiefs are doing. I think the Chiefs have a better offense. Bucks have a little bit better defense, but they're pretty even against each other. When I come right back, I'm going to look more at Tom Brady and see how Tom Brady doing this season and how the Buccaneers are going. Because the Buccaneers, let's admit, the Buccaneers are not the best team there right now. The KC is expected to win. The Buccaneers were expected to be there, but we're going to be talking more about them in a moment. I'm going to take a break here, and when we come right back, I'm going to give a little bit of time to Tampa Bay, or Tom Brady, or, Tampa Bay. We'll talk more about that coming up next. This is the Gridiron Show right here on Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk, and your home of Ohio Bruins basketball this weekend. Man, we got a lot of basketball this weekend. We'll talk all about that in our read I got to do coming up next. So stay tuned. We got a lot more going on, and enjoy these people giving you some stuff. We'll talk about that in a moment. This is Score on Air. And we are back for more here on the Gridiron Show. The Gridiron Show is presented by our friends at the Fitter People. The Fitter People reminds you to amplify your personality with them. I like doing the show without having to worry about video, but here at Score on Air, I got to worry about the video. Hey, that's just how it goes here. It's just an extra thing I got to have. But I want to remind you about the Gridiron Show is presented by our friends at the Theater People. Amplify your personality with the Theater People. Make sure you call them at 614-604-6327 or visit their website at ttpcolumbus.com. Again, that's ttpcolumbus.com. And remember to amplify your personality with the Theater People and create your perfect football watching headquarters today or for next season or whatever you want to watch. They know how to make that the perfect place for you, because I got to admit, if you don't know what your perfect place is going to be or what you want to do or how you're going to chill out and relax, I'm telling you, man, that is the absolute perfect way of doing it. So go check out the Fitter People, and they will hook you up most definitely here. All right. I'm doing a little diving and trying to figure out who do I want to pick here. I don't know. Here's the thing. The early look at the matchup so far is this. I like how this is looking. This year feels completely different. The NFL is requiring the Chiefs to remain at their home facilities until no earlier than 2 days before the game. The Buccaneers will already be at home, of course. That means there'll be no media day, no daily swarming of team hotels, no conventional parties. but it is a supersized game because here's my thing. I'm looking at reasons for hope, reasons for thing. I have to look at the Chiefs here now because the Chiefs can score points. That's my thing with the Chiefs. They could score points. As I'm somebody who is just sitting here, I think the Chiefs can score points here. Everybody who I've talked to, I even talked to Ty Fisher here, he's saying he's feeling that they could win that game. And to be honest with you, I don't know. I think they can. I think they can here. Here's my feeling on it. As much as I want to say the Chiefs can win it, there's too much for me to feel that the Buccaneers have too many things going for them. One of those things is Tom Brady. That makes me want to say, like, well, they got this. Well, the Chiefs got this. They got this. They got Travis Kelce. They got great wide receivers. They got things like that. Tampa has Tom Brady. And if there's ever been a guy that's been so freaking clutch in baseball, in baseball, basketball, anywhere, think of guys that are so clutch. Think of those clutch guys. They are the guys who can close it out, shut you down, and make you regret ever getting on the field. In basketball, it was Jordan. LeBron has a little bit of that, has that as well. Kobe was the type of guy who was that way. Those guys are closers. They live the ABC, always be closing. In baseball, I remember back in the day, you called up Nolan Ryan, and he was the guy. He literally was your closer. If he's out there, it's you done. You done, son. You done. Just guys in football, you had these, like, you had Marino, but Marino never was able to close it. But the scary thing about Tom Brady is he's always been able to put himself in that position to be able to take an attempt at closing this. And that's the scary part about Tom Brady here. Tom Brady has weapons. He has weapons. He has things that, to be honest with you, he never, ever, once in his career has had as many weapons at his hand that he does right now with Tampa Bay. That's a scary thought there. If you put any quarterback with the weapons he has, and here's the scary thing as well, ladies and gentlemen, he knows how to use those weapons. He knows how to use Donald Jones to take off a little bit of a run, to let him do what he needs to do. He knows how to use Leonard Fournette to get those little extra yards. He knows, okay, I could throw it to Mike Evans. I could throw it to these guys here. And now you have a defense that is not afraid to cause sacks. You have Jason Pierre-Paul, who could be playing in this game. You have a ball hawk in Carlton Davis back there that's had 4 interceptions on the years, and he can deflect passes, he can cause tackles, and he can cause issues here. You have Devin White, who can really cause a lot of issues back there. You have a defense that is just nasty, and probably one of the better defenses he had behind him. And I know what I'm saying. I know that you're going to say, but Deshaun, he had better defenses with the Patriots. These guys are good. These guys are good here. Just want to tell you, Devin White right now has the most tackle. They have 2 guys right now that are defensive leaders in the playoffs right now with the most tackles. That is Devin White and Levante Davis. Most tackles. 26 and 20 respectively. For sacks, you have Shaquille Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. Barrett has 3 sacks. Pierre-Paul has 2. Kansas City does not have a guy that can do that. Tampa Bay has a guy that has gotten 3 sacks, 3 interceptions during the season so far here in this defense. Sean Murphy-Bunting. He has 3 interceptions. I just talked highly about Tyrann Mathieu. He's only picked the ball off once. He's only of a few guys that's been able to only pick the ball off once. Jair Alexander over with Kansas City was able to pick the ball off 2 times. Green Bay is not there. It's Tampa Bay. And Sean Murphy-Bunting is back there. These guys know how to get a jump off the ball. And that's the scary part here. As I look at rushing, Fournette, he now knows that Fournette can be that guy that can get him the little extra yardage he needs. He doesn't have to be crazy running it. He doesn't have to be absolutely psychotic running it. All he has to do is give myself a couple yards here or there to get the job done. And that is crazy to think there that if he can be that guy that can get a couple yards here, a couple yards there, a couple yards down the field, that is something that I really got to be honest here concerns me, because I read one fact. Do you remember the fact that I read earlier? Kansas City gives up a lot of yards. 335 yards. Their defense give up a lot of yards. That is a cause of concern. The Chiefs secondary has to deal with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Gronk back there, Scotty Miller, Antonio Brown, maybe. So the Chiefs secondary has their hands full in that game. And that's a scary thought for him. And that's a very scary thought for him, by the way. That's a very scary thought for any defensive guy that has to deal with that. I have to literally try to impede Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Scotty Miller, and we may see Antonio Brown in a Super Bowl. That's going to give me plenty of heart palpitations, because I got to figure that out. And I know my butt is on the line, because if I get roasted and if these guys get roasted and toasted, it's going to be a hard day. Even if I have Patrick Mahomes back there, I got to at least stymie or mess up the issues that I have with just trying to get the ball moving down the field with the Buccaneers and with all those weapons for the Buccaneers. I don't even remember a time when he had that many weapons, but that's one thing that is a major of concern here for us. But for Score on Air, as I try to get back and get going here, I want to mention something that our friends over at Score on Air is doing this week here. If you are a fan of basketball on Score on Air, don't worry, we got plenty of it for you. Plenty of fun for you on the show today. Tonight. Well, actually, we don't have a game tonight. Previously scheduled, there was a game between the Hartley girls and Reedy. That game has been postponed. That game is not airing on Score on Air. But tomorrow night and Saturday, we have 2 games. We have a game tomorrow night and a game Saturday night featuring the Ohio Bruins. And boy, these guys like to score a lot of points. In the 2 times they've been on Score on Air, they've lit up 150 points. So if you like scoring, go check out the Bruins tomorrow night here on Score on Air It's going to be a fun time. That game's going to start around 7:30, I think so. So I need to check out the Score on Air thing, but I know there are going to be a lot of points scored tomorrow night with those boys of the Bruins. So go check out the Bruins tomorrow. That's going to be a fun watch for everybody here and around our area. Of course, next week, we got a mega sports day coming up, as well as we got hockey, we got high school basketball, we got semi-pro basketball, and we got the CBJ Cup coming up next Saturday in a mega sports Saturday for you all. I'll tell you all the details in the second hour, because this next Saturday that's coming up for Score on Air is absolutely mind-bogglingly wild that we're doing, and we're doing it. Oh my God. We are doing a lot next week. So just giving you a heads up here that you can check that all out on the Score on Air Network next week. So we got a bunch of sports for you coming up. So go check that out. If you want to find out what games we're going to, remember, go on our social media. Your Score on Air on Twitter. Just search Score on Air on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and yeah, we're on TikTok, and yeah, we're on all the others. So go check us out. We are there, and we are ready to have some fun with you wherever you are with us. So let me start talking about the game that these two actually played, because these two teams have met before. Yeah, these two teams have met before this season. Huh? Yeah, these two teams have met this season. It was a 24-27 game played. Let me find the week that was. It was played week 12. It was a week 12 game, Sunday, November 29th. Tampa Bay lost that game, and it was a home game against Kansas City, 27-24. You know how we're going to do? Let's deep dive into this game and see how that game rolled in that game. Because it's a very interesting little game, because in that game, your leading passer in that game was Brady with 345 yards. Donald Jones ran for 66, and Gronkowski was your receiving leader with 106 yards. So Kansas City had this game. They had this game. In fact, it was 27-41 in this game. Tom Brady passed for 345 yards, was 27-41. He got 3 TDs in the game. He had 2 interceptions in the game. Mahomes had no interceptions, but he had about the same, 37-49, 462 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, your rushers were Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire only had 11 carries for 37 yards. Donald Jones, 9 carries, 66 yards. This was the game where if you're saying, why do I need to remember this game? This was a game where Tyreek Hill went wild. 13 receptions, 269 yards, and 3 TDs. Yes, Gronk scored 6 receptions for 106 yards, but Tyreek Hill went nuts in that game. And as you look at this game, it was a game where the Buccaneers ended up showing up in the fourth quarter, but it was too little too late here, because let's go over the first quarter here. Buckers, he got a 19-yard field goal. Then Tyreek Hill had a 75-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes. Then Tyreek Hill scored again, 44-yard from Patrick Mahomes. So they started the game 17-0 in the hole. First quarter, literally looking at that game, it was Kansas City scored the first 17 points in that game. Yeah, it was a rough game for them. In fact, Donald Jones scored a touchdown, made it 17-7. Then Butker scored another field goal, made it 27 as they went into half. The game got more interesting in the third quarter, however. Now, as I look back at this game here, they scored a touchdown with Tyreek Hill. He scored a touchdown, 7 plays, 75 yards, 4 minutes, 4 seconds. But Suckup scored a 26-yard field goal. Mike Evans scored a 31-yard pass. And then Mike Evans again, 7-yard pass from Tom Brady. So they had an opportunity. They had opportunities and chances to take this game over. But it ended on a long drive when they needed to get a pick the most. KC was able to drive down the clock and kneel and try to stop the game here. But the truth was they kicked the kickback, and it was just like the thing about this game was interesting was they scored a touchdown. They decided not to kick an onside kick or even try to attempt it, but you had Pinion kick a 65-yard to Tampa Bay's 35 to the end zone, to the Tampa Bay 35 to the end zone, from Tampa Bay's 35 to the end zone, and pretty much they tried to say, hey, let's pin them back and let's try to pick off the ball. Did not work in the end. It did not work. You had Allaire run, be able to scramble, and it was a game where Mahomes and Leclerc was able to really keep that game and keep the drives going to the point where these guys knew exactly what they needed to do. They knew exactly what time they had to do it. They knew when they had to do it. It was just they were able to hold that clock down. 8 plays, killed it with 4:10 on the clock, and Tampa Bay just did not have an answer. Now, here's the thing. This was Antonio on the team. This was there was some injuries, so it's going to be a little bit different game, but the thing I'm looking at here is, can they win it? Can they do it again? Well, coming up, I'm going to give you my prediction. Yay, I'm actually going to get around to it and talk my prediction in a moment on this show, and I'll get around with what I got to say. I did all this to pump up the thing. So what's my prediction? I'll tell you my score. I'll tell you my thought process, and I'll tell you who I'm picking to win the Super Bowl. Coming up next, this is Score on Air, the Next Generation Sports Talk, and stay tuned. This is the Gridiron Show. We'll be right back. All righty, we are back, and welcome back to the Gridiron Show. And you know what, everybody, I've been delaying the inevitable truth of what I have to do on the show today, and I got to do it. I've been delaying it. I gotta admit, I've been delaying it. And the reason I've been delaying it is I don't know who to pick here. I gotta admit here, it's weird. I know who I want to go with. I know what I want to say. And it's so weird because I know who I want to pick. But let's be honest here. A lot of y'all are kind of in the same issue I'm in. It's an easy game to pick, but it's not easy because you have two of the best going against each other. And listen, I expect a really good games. I expect one of the best Super Bowls around next week as we come in, and I'll talk all about the Super Bowl next week. I expect a really good Super Bowl coming. I just expect it. I just know it's going to happen. I know it's going to be a good Super Bowl. So I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to predict here. But I'm going to do no. I'm actually doing graphical stuff, and that's why this show sounds a lot different. If you want to check out the podcast here, I would actually encourage you to check out the podcast, because the podcast has a lot of stuff I'm just not able to do on the live show that I'm able to do here. Yes, it looks better graphically, but show-wise and show content-wise, we're very good here. But let me do it. You know what? I'm taking out you. I'm taking out you. And we transition here. So, who are my picks here? Chiefs are early favorite by 3. And there is no next week. Pick got to happen now. My pick for the Super Bowl is the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs, and I'm going with a 35-28 game. I think the Chiefs can score a lot of points. I think they have more weapons, and I don't think Tampa can stop them. I think if the last game showed anything, they could hang. I think Tampa Bay can hang with Kansas City, but I think Kansas City has more weapons and more options for them to win. So I'm going with the Chiefs to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My score would be 35-28. Now, how I got to 35-28 is I think we saw that they can score 38 points. We're starting to see their offense get their motor running. And that was the question with the Kansas City Chiefs. Can they get their offense going? Can they really start firing off on all cylinders? I think they can. I respect Tom Brady. I respect what he's doing. But, Tom, you're not going to like what I'm about to say here, man. You're not going to like it. I think you're a little old here. I don't think that you're the best guy. I think that you're good. I'm not going to knock you for being good. I'm not going to knock you for being you. You are you. You are a legend. You are the legend. And I got to respect that. I got to respect the man. I got to respect the man here. The man is you. So I got to put some respect on your name. However, while I'm putting respect on your name, I also got to admit this. You're 35 years old. You're 40-something years old. As we're talking about quarterbacks in this league, you're getting older. You're getting older, my friend. You're getting older. And I think that you're not going to be the best guy out there. I think something's going to happen. Something's going to happen in this game that's going to be a game changer. It's going to be something that, to be honest with you, I don't know what to say about it. I don't think he's going to be able to finish the game. I don't think he'd be able to do what he needs to do to win. Do I think he's going to be the best guy out there on the field? Maybe, but I think Patrick Mahomes got all the tools in front of him to win this game. I think he has more tools in front of him to be able to win it. I think as much as you want to say Gronk can be something, the thing is Gronk is there for maybe a quick is more of an out situation. You have better options in your wide receiver core than you have in Gronk. And if you're depending on Gronk that much, that's a problem. Gronk may or may not be there in next year. Now, Gronk, in that last game, he got 6 receptions for 106 yards. Tyreek Hill is going to play. In the Super Bowl week, there is a lot of things we need to talk about here. I think that they can. I think that a lot of people are going crazy over this, and I think that you're going to see a lot of things go down. My feeling on this game is this: whose defense is going to inflict their will on this game? Because the defense that can at least get to the quarterback and make him uncomfortable, somewhat uncomfortable in this game, is going to win the game. And I think the Chiefs' defensive line can be able to get a little bit of a push on Tampa Bay. They've shown it before. I think they can show it again. And I think that you have Tyrann Mathieu who's willing to try to punch in and do something here. So I like the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to score a lot of points in this game. I'm going 35-28 Chiefs on this game. Again, I'm going with the Chiefs. I am saying it in the world. It is out there in the world. Chiefs win Super Bowl. I think we're going to be good, and I think they're going to be able to win the game. So that's my feeling. You probably have your feeling, and if you have your feeling, hit us up right now on the Score on Air Facebook page. Find our show. Hit me with who you think is going to win, because I want to hear what you have to say coming up here on the show. And as we look, and I got I got the chat open here, so I want to hear what you have to say here on the show. So keep it going, and the chat is open, and we want to hear from you, and hear from you as always here on the show on Score on Air. So here's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take a break. I got to take a long break, because we got to get to the top of the hour here. And when we come back from the top of the hour here on WSOA, the Score on Air, we're going to really be punching National Signing Day. We're gonna turn our focus to National Signing Day. National Signing Day, really big deal, really big situation. We'll tell you why there is a clear champion there. And I got to rant about the Cleveland Browns a little bit. I got to rant about a couple things on the show. And, I've been trying to hold back the rant, ladies and gentlemen, because I got to be honest. I don't want to rant. I really don't. I mean, it's a new show. It's a new era here. We're talking about the gridiron. We're talking about a sport I love, and I don't want to be the guy that rants on everything and everybody, because we already got a guy that can rant about that, but I kind of know a little bit more about football than the guy that can rant really, really well on ESPN, but I got to rant. I got to rant on something. I got to rant on 2 things, but we'll come back. We'll talk about all that stuff, and we got to get a second hour going right now on Score on Air, WSOA Columbus. It is Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. We'll be right back right after this here on the Score on Air network. Have a good day. We'll be right back for hour 2 of the show. Coming up next.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Welcome to the show where football is king.
If you want to crown them, then crown them.
It's 2 hours of all football.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
What, you think we talk about anything else on this show?
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
From Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. This is the Gridiron Show with Deshaun Isaac. There I am. Crank this down a bit. and welcome to the Gridiron Show, Hour 2. Man, I gotta admit, we had a good Hour 1 as we tried to break down and figure out what I feel about the Super Bowl, because I gotta admit, I'm glad I could talk it out with you guys, because now I got a good feeling on my pick of the Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs can do it. I think they can be amazing in that game. It's just with Brady there, it's going to be very interesting to see what he can do. But we got recruiting news I need to talk about. Yeah, we had National Signing Day happen yesterday. Very, very, very interesting stuff happened in the signing day, because a lot of people may have forgot that signing day was yesterday. I'll admit, I was one of those people who kind of forgot, because then we have early signing period, and a lot of stuff happened in the early signing period here. So let's talk about the early signing period here. They enact the dead period amid the COVID-19 pandemic since last March, meaning recruits haven't been able to take official business, and recruiting visits and recruiting has gone on in normal. The early signing period in December came and went, and now we have the regular signing period that takes place. Wednesday is the first day high school recruits can sign their national letter of intent to lock them into the colleges of their choice during the late signing period. Most of the 300 ESPN 300 prospects put pen and paper in December's early period of the top 300 prospects, and 10 of them that are committed but did not sign, and 11 of them are uncommitted and unsigned here. So as we came in today, most of them, all of them for the most part, they all signed in that date. But let's check out where teams really landed here. Michigan needed a deep, deep dive here. They really, really needed a deep. Let's look at where Michigan kind of finished up here, because Michigan, they kind of finished up strong here. They finished up with the number 2 ranked recruiting class. Now, I got to say this about Michigan. Do I think Michigan can be good? I don't think it's their recruiting class that's the issue. I think it's their coaching. I don't believe that, I'll be honest with you, I am one of those people that do not believe Jim Harbaugh is the answer and could be the answer at Michigan. I know what you're going to say, but Deshaun, where are they going to find better coaching? They can find way better coaching than Harbaugh right now, because Harbaugh has been absolute trash the last couple of years. The only reason he still has a job right now is because he didn't have to play Ohio State this year. The only reason he got a contract extension is because he didn't have to play Ohio State this year. Pretty much COVID saved his behind. And you got a defensive tackle. Now, here's the good news. They got a defensive tackle, Rashawn Benny. He was committed to Michigan State in November, but on Wednesday, he said, I'm going to stay in Michigan, but not in Michigan State, but he's going to go to Michigan because, let's admit it right now, Michigan has more stability at this point than Michigan State. Of course, it's like trying to compare a Pinto to a Vega. If you say a Pinto to a Vega, what do you mean by that? They're both crappy cars, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the fact of the matter here. They're both crappy cars. They're both pretty crappy programs right now. Why the heck it's like saying, it's like the turd sandwich and douche situation. Both of them suck. Both of them are not good options at all. But you have to choose the best one out of the two, unfortunately. So, class rankings. How did everybody boil out on class rankings? Well, let's look at how the 2021 class boiled down here. there was a clear champion. Alabama ranked the top of everybody here. They had a great offensive commit in Tommy Brockemeyer, offensive tackle, and Dallas Turner, number 12, is the top defensive commit. So pretty much, Nick Saban, say what you want about him. He has the championships. He got the rings. He got everything. He is comfortable at Alabama. He could stay there, and you pretty much now got to think about Alabama. Yeah, you could say Bear Bryant, but you now have to say Nick Saban as well in that same breath of being such great coaches in that team. But here's the ironic thing. Ohio State is there as well. We had their top offensive commit was Trayvon Henderson. He was number 9. And top defensive commit, Jack Sawyer, who, did an interview with us here at Score on Air. If you want to find that interview, I think I'm going to try to dig that up because it's a great little interview that was done for our Friday night final show, and I might try to find it and air it here. If I can't find it this week, I'm going to try to find it during the break here, and I'm going to do the long break to make sure I can find that because I want to at least air some snippets from that interview because it was a great interview that he did with Score on Air, and it was why he did not do here. It's very interesting, and it's just so interesting that we got to talk with that guy, and he was so good. He was absolutely a nice guy. So here's the thing. Ryan Day signed the number 5 ranked class in February, and he's completing his first number 1 class as a head coach. He got a pair of 5-star headlining the number 1 class with Jack Sawyer and Virginia running back Trayvon Henderson. They need, as much as I love Major, he was trying to be that guy. Major doesn't have that punch, that home run, running, touchdown attitude. You need a guy that can be a punch it into the end zone. Really a guy that can run and run fast and get into the next level. Major was not that guy. He's not that guy. He's your 2-3 yards and cloud dust type of guy. There are places for him, but it's like end zone is probably the best guy for him. The signal caller is top ESPN 300, Kyle McCord. He will throw to his high school. So Marvis Harrison Jr. So we got Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyle McCord. You got Ibuka. He's going to the next level as the number 2 ranked wide receiver. The Buckeye class is built from players all across the country, so he's just doing what he can. You got Denzel Berg. You got Evan Pryor out of North Carolina. You got now here's some interesting things. Ohio State got a little revenge on Clemson again. Jordan Hancock was going to go to Clemson. He's not going to Clemson anymore. He's going to the Buckeyes. And Talik Williams was literally going to Virginia for Talik Williams. They lose Tumsy Adele, the in-state 300 prospect in the fold. You got Mike Hall, defensive tackle. You got Jayen Ballard. You got Reed Carrasco and Ben Christman, all offensive tackles. You got a wide receiver there. Ohio State had a very good day yesterday, and a lot of it was sealed up early. Now, the Georgia Bulldogs, they stay at 3. Clemson, they stay at 4. They get a running back in Will Shipley, and then you got Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as your top defensive outside linebacker. So Clemson's going to be getting that picture. Then you got Oregon. They're up to number 6. Aggies up to 7 they're up to 6. They were number 5. They actually moved up a spot. Aggies moved up a spot to 6. Then you had the LSU Tigers, who actually dropped from number 5 to number 7. The defending national champs head into the cycle with a tidal wave of momentum. They capitalized on another top 10. The thing is, they need a quarterback. They need a guy that is going to be like the problem is they landed Garrett Nussmeier, and he is going. The thing is, I think with Nussmeier, I think he's going to be the guy that can be a very good quarterback for the Tigers, because they need one. That was one of the bad things about them last year. They really didn't have that quarterback, that guy, the guy to do it. But as we look at the USC Trojans got a guy in Daxton Dark who could really be a good quarterback for them. They added a pair with Miller Moss and then senior riser Jason Dart out of Utah. So them two, so you got Miller Moss, Daxton Dart, really going to be stabilizing that defense. Then you have Notre Dame drop a spot. Notre Dame drops a spot. They grab a quarterback in Tyler Buckner, and they have a top 15 class. You have the Florida Gators, who, let's be honest here, they really ranked 5 out of 14 here in the SEC. They got a good quarterback in Carlos Del Rio. It's going to be very interesting to see how they roll here. Finishing out the top 5, you got the Miami Hurricanes, Carolina Tar Heels, and as we look farther down, you got the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, they got the best class in the Big 12, but it's only 13. They stayed put. They got a quarterback in Caleb Williams. They got a good defensive commit with Clayton Smith. Now, Caleb Williams can be, if he can show up, it's going to be interesting, because now you got your number 1 wide receiver, Mario Williams. You got Billy Bauman. You got Cody Jackson, Jalil Farouk. Could these guys be guys that could help that Oklahoma Sooner offense? And we're starting to see with Lincoln Riley, with what they could do at Oklahoma. They can really do what they need to do here. It's Oklahoma now. There is an interesting story here. Michigan had a great one. Now, what has Michigan missed? Michigan has not had that good quarterback, that decent quarterback play out of them for the last couple of years. And let's admit it, they really need it. They need it bad. So if J.J. McCartney can show up and play quality play, at least decent to pretty good football here, he might be starting as a freshman. He might. Because there's a lot of opportunities. If you're a quarterback like in Columbus, the opportunities isn't there as much. But Michigan, opportunity is wide open for you if you want to be a good quarterback wherever you are. As we go farther along, we had the 15, it's Texas Longhorns, and then you had the Wisconsin Badgers. They had a good day. Ole Miss Rebels going 25. Then you had the Maryland Terrapins. Tennessee Volunteers, they actually dropped a bit here, and let's admit it. They had another head coaching change. They had a big win out of Alabama. The problem is with Tennessee is the stability of their program is very questionable at best. It's not the best and strongest program for them. They're not a very strong program. They're not doing what they need to do. They're not really trying to do what they can do here. I just don't think it's just, you could have great guys come in. The problem is, do you have the guys that can build them up from being just great guys to excellent guys, to superb guys, to studs out there? And I look at Tennessee right now, and the question is, that's the big question. Can Tennessee do that with their program? And that's a hard question there, because Tennessee is mid of the pack in the SEC, but pretty good but in a program where you got 8 teams in the top 25, it's not a very good situation in the ACC. Just missing it. Penn State, they were 5-14, and a lot of these there's a lot of names out there that are good, but what about the team they feel that are bottom of the pack here that could get a commit? They can't get these commits to stay, and that's the thing. The ESPN, what separates these guys? 43, the last ESPN commit, 300 commit, there was James Blackstrain. He's a top offensive commit, and then from there, it's just 3 or 4 star guys. That's what separates these big programs from these really crazy programs to these elite programs, your top 10 programs here. They can get those ESPN commits. They can get those guys that are the guy. Alabama can get the guy. Ohio State can get the guy. Michigan, I don't think they're good right now. Yeah, you can get ESPN commits because you got the name Michigan, but I don't think their program is as strong as it is. With Ohio State, who's now operating against teams like Alabama, who have to face Clemson every year, and Alabama and all these other great programs, that's who they're competing against. Michigan's competing against Ohio State. And they've had trouble competing against Penn State, who Penn State had a decent draft year, and a lot of other things. So going to be interesting to talk about that as we go along here and as we get farther into the draft season here. Well, recruiting is done, but there's a lot more recruiting news to be had, ladies and gentlemen, because we got to talk about 2022 because the recruiting don't stop. It's going to get more interesting because 2022 is coming soon. And we'll be here on the Gridiron Show talking about recruiting news galore, and we'll follow every step of the way of the recruiting class of 2022 here. Even though 2021 is now in the books, 2022 is there's always something going on. And don't worry, this show, even though football season may be wrapping up and we're starting to get into that rough period where you need football, we'll be here for you here on the show. So as we continue, when we come right back, I got to rant. I gotta rant here about Cleveland. Do I want to rant about Cleveland, or do I want to rant about these guys talking about, well, Deshaun Jackson doesn't have the right to speak? I'll let myself think on that, but there's a rant. There's at least one of these 2 rants coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. This is the Gridiron Show right here on Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. Stay tuned. This is the Gridiron Show. Oh, welcome back. I hope you didn't mind. I was looking at NFL Talk All 32, and I've been chatting about, and I've been looking up what you fans are saying out there. And, you know, as I've been perusing through here, a comment popped up on the page that I want to read. It was from Brett Farve. Brett Farve was talking about Deshaun Watson's trade request via Yahoo Sports. He said, quote, "You get paid tons of money to do a certain job and just to do it, and let the chips fall where they may. I think we make too much money to voice an opinion, but I'm not saying he's wrong. Again, I think it's a different day and time. It'll be interesting to see how the organization handles it." Brett Farve, let me go in on you. Let me go in on a lot of guys. Here's the thing. They're saying, well, he is right or he is wrong. Okay, let me go in on these guys. Deshaun Watson gets paid $150 million. $150 million. And you're telling him, shut up and play? You're telling him, shut up and play. Shut up, guy. You should just play and just shut up. No. He actually gives a damn about the team more than you did with the Packers. Okay, Brett. Oh, you forgot? Okay, let's go over what you did. I don't know. Should I play? I want to retire, but I should play. I want to retire, but I should play. I want to retire. I want to do this. I want to do that. You know what? The best move they did was dump your behind and trade your behind to Minnesota so they can have you somewhere else. Because let's admit, you were crap around the end. You were good, but they dumped you at literally the right time. And Aaron Rodgers' era began, and it continues on to this day, and they're dealing with the same questions. But at least Aaron Rodgers said, I want to stay with the team. He never played these games of, I want to retire, I want to not retire, I want to retire, I want to not retire, I want to inflict some. He's doing it. At least Deshaun Watson is open and saying, I want to. I cannot support this team anymore. I can't be honest. I'm being honest with you. I'm being actually truthful with you. I'm not playing games with you here. I don't think this team has the ability to do what they need to do. But you, during your time, and I remember that time, you like to play games. You like to play the retirement game. You played the retirement game for the last 3 or 4 years of your career in Green Bay, didn't you? And for you to say, well, they make too much money. What kind of BS is that? What kind of BS is that? You know they make plenty of enough money, and they make plenty of good money, because guess what? In the NFL, you need a quarterback. You need a quarterback. How are you getting off telling somebody else that they are wrong? Really? Really? You're getting off on telling me and telling anybody else that they're wrong. You're wrong for saying that they aren't that good. You're wrong for saying that maybe they make too much money. Maybe we quarterbacks make too much money. If I heard any quarterback come out and say, we make too much money, you are a dumb SOB. You are a dumb idiot. You want to know why you make more money? Because a lot of the things you have to deal with are what it is. You are the engine that drives that team. In the NFL, if you don't have a good quarterback, you have nothing. You could have the best wide receivers. You could have the best defense. You could have the best offensive line. You could have the best in everything else. But you're going off and you're saying, well, I think these quarterbacks make too much money. Brett Farve, shut up. You played games with, at least I'll give Deshaun Watson this. At least he had the honesty to tell the team, I don't think I can win with you guys. I don't think I can win with you guys. Can't coach him. Can't win with them. At least he was honest with them. You played games for the last 3 years of your career with Green Bay. Should I retire? Should I not retire? You literally was trying to hold up the development of a quarterback who ended up being better than you. Aaron Rodgers is better than you. He is much better than you. He is more accurate than you. He is a better quarterback than you ever was in Green Bay. Period. And you want to say that you felt that these quarterbacks make too much money. These quarterbacks make too much money. Get the heck out of here with that. You know dang good and well they make plenty of good enough money. And you're sitting here saying, I think these quarterbacks make too much money. I don't know if I think we make too much money. I really think we should make a little less money. If you're a quarterback saying we should make less money, shut up. That means you don't have the heart to play. A lot of these guys, and Eric Casillas was saying some dumb crap as well, saying, well, I don't know if he really should be the guy there. No, you're literally saying to me that he cannot be the guy. You're telling me that you're sitting there and you're telling me that he cannot do the job. Like, Deshaun Watson, here's the thing. The Houston Texans, they put in a no-trade clause for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson can pick anywhere he wants to go. The Houston Texans don't have that power. He got that power. They could have sent him off to nowhere, and by not putting a no-trade clause. But the reason Deshaun Watson put that no-trade clause is, I think this team is going to be crap around me, and I feel that I can give my best years to someone else. I don't think you have the same hunger to win than I do. When you're top quarterback, your face of the league, the guy you drafted number 1 is telling you, I don't think you have the same hunger to win than I do. That should be a gut check. For Houston gets nailed and Houston gets love. Houston should get love for this. No, I'm telling you now, if your quarterback is saying, you don't have the same passion that I do for doing my job, for doing the same job and going out there and busting my butt and trying to get y'all wins, you don't give me any offensive weapons. You trade away your picks. Are you even trying to get me the best options to win? Are you trying to get me a good chance to win? Because you traded away your best wide receiver. Your best defensive guy is probably on his way out of town. You're probably going to try to trade him over the offseason because, let's admit it, he's going to go to the Browns. That's right, J.J. Watt to the Browns. I kind of believe that happening because I feel that what you're hearing from Deshaun Watson is not a alone thing in that organization. They know this organization with that guy, Easterby, Jack Easterby, whoever the heck he is, has no business there. The GM is stuck with this situation. The new coach is stuck with this situation because of previous decisions made by the owner. And they have no faith in what they're doing right now. No faith. None. And you're sitting there saying, these quarterbacks, he shouldn't be crying about trying to play somewhere else. Well, if that organization shows me that they give a damn about winning, maybe I should care. But guess what? You showed me you don't care. Like Brett Farve, you showed in those last couple years at Green Bay, you didn't give a rat's butt about winning, son. You wanted to say, I want to retire. I want to look back and retire. Then you try to work yourself up to say, well, I'm back. Don't you love me? You were always a me guy. You weren't ever a team guy. Let's focus on me. I'm the star. I'm the guy. But you couldn't even win. You won a Super Bowl, and could have won more, but you were never a team guy to begin with. You were a prima donna, and you got exposed with the Jets, and you got exposed with the Minnesota Vikings. For Brett Farve to get off on saying we quarterbacks make too much money is the dumbest thing I ever heard him say. He needs to go back, sit his butt down, go slip into some Wranglers, and do something else. Because guess what? You obviously have no brain to be had. You have no brain to be had, buddy. None. None whatsoever. No brain to be had. And you're sitting there telling me that we should have these guys do better. We should be good. Makes me sick. And I'm not even starting on the other connotations and the low-key connotations of what he's trying to say. But let's go off of face value of what he's trying to say. I'm not even going off of the face value crap he's saying. I'm going off the face value crap he's saying. We're not even going on the connotations and crap. Because if we really go there, this would be a completely different conversation. This would be a very ugly and very different conversation, Brett. This would be a very different conversation. It would be a conversation that I don't think Score on Air is willing to have. I don't think most radio shows are willing to have. And I don't think you want to have either. I literally think you tried to say something low-key and tried to dog whistle something, but you sound like a dumbass trying to say that. Shut up. Shut up. The only good thing you were good for was probably trying to throw the ball, but you also throw so many interceptions, it's not even funny. Yeah, gunslinger. Yeah, if your name was James Winston, there would be no difference there. Shut up. Shut up, Brett. You have absolutely nothing to say here. Saying, well, these quarterbacks make too much money. You know what? Maybe these quarterbacks give more of a care about the team than you ever did when you were with the Green Bay Packers. Okay? Maybe that. That is the stupidest thing I ever said. And I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But that is a rant that I usually don't do. But it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. I don't know what to say after that. That is the stupidest thing I ever heard. You know what? I was going to do a read, but I'm going to go take a straight commercial break right now because I'm going to need to calm down. I got to go get some blood pressure or something, because if I hear much more stupidity, I swear I'm going to have to fly down to Alabama, Mississippi, wherever the heck he is, and Mississippi, and just slap him upside the head for saying that stupid crap to Yahoo News. Yahoo Sports, because that was absolutely stupid and asinine. What an idiot. You know what? Let's take a commercial break. I'll be right back with more show. I got to finish this up. We'll be right back. This is the Gridiron Show on Score on Air. Welcome back to the Gridiron Show. My name is Deshaun Isaac, and we have a lot of fun on the show, as we always do. But just to remind you, we are on social media, and if you missed any part of this show, especially that rant from earlier that we just did, you can download the show on Anchor and a lot of other podcast networks. We are also on Google Podcasts. We're on Radio Public. We're on a lot of other sites. We got an edited down show that will be up there a little later on tonight. So it'll be available for you coming up Friday morning, wherever you're doing it. So you can check out the show and hear it for yourself and hear that whole rant and hear what I got to say. And I'll probably post that whole rant for you on YouTube and social media and hear what I have to say and what I got to hear. So, yeah. And as I talk about Deshaun Watson is exposing a lot of stupidity around the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of stupidity there. And I feel like I'm attacking poor Adam Dell's favorite teams here because I got to start about the Browns. The Browns announced, the Browns fans, there is a rumor going that the Browns are willing to trade Baker Mayfield if the price is right. Like, fans want to trade Baker Mayfield for Deshaun Watson. I want to repeat that again because I don't think y'all understand the stupidity that is being said here, the stupidity being heard here. The truth is this. Do you keep OBJ? Like, here's the thing. You have to ask this question here. After week 6, there was no better quarterback. Baker Mayfield was great after week 6 of the season. Things started really clicking for him. Things started moving forward. He started becoming the quarterback we thought he should be. But Cleveland says, hey, you know what? There's Deshaun Watson. We should trade for him. Cleveland, don't do this. Don't do this. You got something you have never had in a long, long time, Cleveland. Cleveland. I want you, I'm seeing if I'm looking at the right camera. I am looking at the right camera. Don't do this move. Please, for the love of God, do not do this move. Use your brains here. Ladies and gentlemen, Cleveland, I beg of you. I plead of you. I even want to if I could get down on my knees, I will beg of you. Don't do this stupid move. You have a good quarterback right now with Baker Mayfield. His stats are actually pretty dang good. He's going to go up from here. But you, like, the one guy you should be saying let's get rid of is Odell Beckham Jr. Okay? Odell Beckham Jr. should be the guy you get rid of. Okay? He's the guy you need to get rid of. Odell Beckham Jr. Think about it. Odell Beckham Jr. really has not been the guy. Jarvis Landry has been the guy. Jarvis Landry receiving yards has been superb. Nick Chubb is a great running back. But Odell Beckham Jr. is not the guy. And I know this is shocking for you Cleveland fans to hear, but the last person you need to be thinking about trading is Baker Mayfield. The guy you need to be trading, and you need to think about trading him, and you need to really think about if you want him in your team moving on into the future, is Odell Beckham Jr. He's not really that good. But Deshaun, but Odell Beckham Jr., he can do amazing catches. Has he really fit well into what is going on with the Cleveland Browns? The Cleveland Browns have now went from, okay, you're starting to become a cute team to look at. Maybe you can do these things too. Now, they have a solid future. They're probably in a situation where if you're thinking about the AFC North, it's the Browns, Bengals, if they can get an offensive line around Joe Burrow. They can get an offensive line around Joe Burrow. They will improve. The Ravens right now with Lamar Jackson. So the top two teams right now that's your 1, 2, 3. 4, I think the Steelers. And the thing about the Steelers is you have an old quarterback there. Ben Roethlisberger has shown you he cannot deliver past, he can deliver maybe on a 12-game season, but he cannot deliver on a 17-game season and longer. He probably cannot deliver on a possible 20-game season. You're going to need to think about maybe trading him. Not trading him, let him go. Let him go. If you're the Steelers. Right now, the 3 other teams in your division are in good position. Only thing is, OBJ, I do not think needs to be extended. He's still a game changer, but I don't think it fits here. It's just not a great situation. He's going to be rehabilitating from the ACL all season. Is he going to be good? Is it going to be? It's just, I don't think that Odell Beckham Jr. really is as good as we expect him to be. I don't think he has really showed up in Cleveland as the guy you expected him to be. I don't think he has been the guy there, but as we're being honest here, I don't think Odell, that's the guy, if you really need to trade, you trade him. Baker Mayfield can be good. Baker Mayfield saying we will be back is exactly what you need. You need a guy like Baker Mayfield. Deshaun Watson, as much as I like him, I don't think he's a good fit there in Cleveland. Just because he's a star does not mean he'll fit there. Cleveland is a different organization. They're a different feel. They have a different style. They have a different way of doing things. I just look at that organization and I look at how they run and I look at how they do things there. And I look at that team and I just believe that they are better. They are much better. They are much better without maybe OBJ, without big stars. It is not a big star team, but you got guys that want to bring their lunch pails and work. You got Jarvis Landry, who is a star, who can go to work all day, every day. You got a lot of, they're starting to build these things, and they're starting to do these things, and they're starting to do things that will work. But the thing that is mind-numbing is, why would Cleveland fans even do that? Why would you want to? I know you're used to switching quarterbacks every 2 or 3 years, but that's not normal. You got something that is better than normal. You got something good. You got stability at quarterback. Not many teams can say we got stability at quarterback. Baker Mayfield is stable. He can do it. He's so good at what he can do. So it's going to be interesting to see what can happen and what can happen as we move forward here. So it's going to be fun looking at that. So I'm going to take a little break here. I'm going to take a little 30-second break, and I'll hit you with some stories of things that we need to hit on here on the show. A quick commercial break, but I'll be right back with more of the show here on Score on Air, and I'll wrap this up as we got 2 little bits of news that have broken today that I think we need to talk about real quick here. This is Score on Air, the Next Generation Sports Talk. And we are back with the show, and we're going to take it home here on the show. And we have a couple stories that we need to break down here. Some sad stories that really have happened over the day. NFL coach Marty Schottenheimer has been moved to a hospice facility near his home in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is because of complications from Alzheimer's disease, his family said on Wednesday. He is listed in stable condition. He said, this is what the family said. They said, we are surrounding him with love, Pat said in a statement, also speaking on behalf of the couple's children, Kristen and Brian, and are soaking up the prayers and support of all those he's impacted through his incredible life. In the way he taught us all, we're putting one foot in front of the other, one play at a time. Schottenheimer was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2014. Schottenheimer, if you don't remember him, he was a longtime coach with the Browns, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. He posted a 205, 139, and 1 career record, including the playoffs. He was named the NFL Coach of the Year in 2014 with 2004 with the 2004 with the Chargers. His NFL career ended in 2006, following a 14-2 season with the Chargers and a divisional round exit from the playoffs. Schottenheimer also played 6 seasons as a linebacker with the Bills from 1965 to 1968 and the Patriots from 1969 to 1970. His son Brian recently agreed to become the Jaguars' passing game coordinator, according to Adam Schefter. And Alzheimer's disease is a horrible thing. It's just a horrible thing to see a guy like Marty Schottenheimer, who really was one of the great coaches in the NFL, who has not won a Super Bowl. He is such a great guy that a lot of people respected him. And I got to admit, to be 14-2 and still get fired, that's some BS. Of course, it's the Chargers, and that organization has been absolute garbage fire. So much so that even when they tried to move to San Diego, they decided, instead of becoming the number 1 team in the market, they decided to be the number 7 team in the market. Heck, even the LA Galaxy get more love than you, and they play soccer, or what the rest of the world calls football. Yeah, that is just a sad way and a sad thing to hear. Let me just say, without saying it, and I know I need to say it, I'm just saying it to be out in the open here. My thoughts and prayers go out to the Schottenheimer family here. This is not an easy situation. Nobody wants to move their family member to a hospice situation. It's just not an easy situation. It's not easy at all. It is hard. It is a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to say, let's move you to a hospice situation because we don't feel that there's a quality of life left, and that just freaking sucks. That's horrible. And our prayers are with the Schottenheimer family and everyone around him and around his family here. Our thoughts, again, with his family as well. Also today, we learned that Les Levine, if you do not know who Les Levine is, you do not know Cleveland sports. He was a longtime broadcaster. If you know the show of More Sports and Les Levine, even if you're from Ohio, you know what More Sports and Les Levine is, because I think he was one of the shows originally on Sports Time Ohio with Bruce, I'm trying to figure his name, the last name of the guy, but he was one of those for one of the 2 shows that were on the original STO, because he moved from radio to cable television and was recently shown daily on Cleveland.com. And it's just, you knew who Les Levine is if you are a fan of Cleveland sports. He worked at the pregame and postgame host for the Browns, the Indians, and Cavaliers broadcast. He did play-by-play for Kent State and Cleveland State. He did it all. Les Levine, you knew his name. For us football fans, you knew who he was. And especially for everybody here. It's just sad to hear the news today that Les Levine passed away at the age of 74 today. And he was a character here. They said he died from diabetes and Parkinson's disease. So hard for so long, he went out on his own terms. It's just, I hated to end it with that, but you know what, Les? Thanks for bringing it the way you always brought it, man. And it is this football family is huge, and that's how it goes in football here. We may talk about the hard stuff, but we got to talk about we can talk about the hard stuff all the time, but that is life. Life does happen in football and outside of football here. I want to let you know that as we wrap up the show here, I want to let you know that we will have a podcast for you coming up on Anchor with our show, The Gridiron Show. Just type in The Gridiron Show where you find your podcast. If you type us in on the Google Podcast, on Anchor, you can find us. Come listen to the show. We have a lot more going on. I want to give a quick shout out to NFL All 32 for being our home of the fans and allowing fans to talk with us, and we love talking with them, and we appreciate their hospitality as well. And we want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank our great sponsor, the Fear People, our exclusive sponsor for the Score on Air broadcast of this show, The Gridiron Show, and we thank them so much. Well, I got to wrap it up. I got to go home. We got to go home. We got to get ready. And usually I say I got to get ready for a game, but you know what I got to do? I got to get ready to get out of here. I appreciate you for tuning on in and being a part of the show, and we'll do this again next week here on Score on Air, and possibly sooner or later right here online. And I'll see you on the podcast over on Anchor, on anchor.fm. Sooner or later, I'll see you there. For all of us here, goodbye. We'll see you next time here for The Gridiron Show, right here on Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk.